Hey, what's going on, everyone? Original Hypnotoad here, coach of your Detroit Magnetons, welcoming you to our PICA Week 1 battle, going up against Nick, coach of the Iowa Focus Energy. And as you see, he brought his Mega Gallade, Tyrantrum, Raichu, Fortress, Chestnut, and Togekiss. While if you guys saw my team builder, you'd already know what I brought, but we brought Life Orb, uh, Tornadus, Fairy, Choice Scarf, Mamoswine, uh, Leftover, Jellicent, Subcombine, Raikou, Damprock, Politoed, and Mega Swampert. Uh, if you guys did watch my team preview, there's one thing I did change, being I switched HP Ground on Raikou for HP Ice, because when I did the calcs, HP Ice at +1 would two-shot a Raichu, and that was really the main reason why I was bringing it. Uh, and also, HP Ice would hit the Chestnut for super effective damage, which may or may not come into play. But looking at what he brought, uh, I thought the obvious lead for him would be Fortress because he'd want a hazard stack. I don't have any form of hazard removal on my team. Uh, so he probably notices that right away and figures he wants to get up hazards as much as he can. I take that as a notion that okay, I can lead with Raikou, set up a substitute, and try to set up Calm Minds. So that's what I decided to lead with here as we go ahead and hit that play button here. So he does lead with his Fortress, while I do lead with Raikou. I do substitute as he goes for the spikes. Now here, let me pause real fast. Here, I wanted to go for the Thunderbolt more so because I wanted to uh, get him down to range where a second one would kill. I didn't think a Thunderbolt would bring him down to the point where his Custap Berry would activate, so I just decided to go for the Thunderbolt here instead of setting up Calm Minds, which is what I do. Takes him to the 31%, so being at 31%, his Custap Berry, if he's running Custap Berry, it won't pop unless I obviously can chip him down more. But he goes for the Volt Switch here, which does nothing to our substitute. Goes out here into Raichu. Now here, my mentality was, alright, I can just go ahead and start sticking Calm Minds on this thing. What's this thing going to want to do to me? It can it could probably break my sub with Focus Blast. Maybe Grass Knot would break my sub because of the prior chip damage from Volt Switch. So my mentality was like, alright, he brought this thing in, I can just go ahead and set up. I'm going to go ahead and click Calm Mind. He actually makes an incredible play by going for encoring me into Thunderbolt, which gives him a +1 from Lightning Rod. And now we're in big trouble here. We're in big trouble. Because this +1 Raichu can do a lot of things to my team. I know Raichu gets Grass Knot. A +1 Grass Knot would for sure KO my Mega Swampert. Especially considering I haven't Mega Evolved. Thunderbolt would do massive damage to either my Tornadus, Frillish, or not Frillish, Jellicent, or a Politoed, and I can't risk sacking off my Mamoswine here, so I decided to just go into my Politoed here, set up the rain because I am Damp Rock. I know I'm going to go down to 2 hits of whatever he goes for. Grass Knot does 69%. He goes for the discharge here. We see he's Life Orb set, which is going to come into pretty big play here later. I go into my Mega Swampert here. Now here, I could predict him switching, which I don't know why he would switch because Grass Knot would go for it, but he could still switch nevertheless. But the possibility of him going for Grass Knot is just way too important. I have to click Protect because I have to get my speed boost up from the Swift Swim, so I have to click Protect. Nothing else I can do. He does in fact make the switch out into his Chestnut here, which is then going to force me to switch out again, wasting a turn of rain. I make the safe switch here into Tornadus as he goes for Seed Bomb, which does next to nothing to me. He switches out here into his Togekiss. Why did you go for the Hurricane? It's gonna always hit because of the rain right now. He gets confused. I should go for another Hurricane because I don't think this Togekiss can do anything to me besides paralyze me. He goes for Baton Pass. He's gonna Baton Pass out into his Tyrantrum, which actually passes the confusion, which I didn't know that actually happened. I didn't know that if you Baton Passed while being confused, you would Baton Pass the confusion. So uh, you'll see here, I go out to Jellicent because this is my physically defensive Mon. He hits himself in confusion, which is really awesome. For me, really bad for him. But that forces him to switch out. He switches out here to Fortress, probably sacking it because I'm just going to go for the Scald. Scald was just too much of an easy play to go for, so I bet he was just sacking the Fortress there. He goes back out into his Raichu. And now my mentality here was, okay, I need to get this Raichu chipped down to where either Tornadus or Mamoswine can come in and KO it. Obviously, with my choice Scarfed Mamoswine, I would outspeed and be able to take it out with an Earthquake, but because he has Togekiss and also Chestnut, I can't safely block myself in the Earthquake yet. So here, I decide to sack my Jellicent. He gets the Para, he gets the Life Orb. I go for the Recover, just because that means he's going to hit me 2 more times to be able to KO me. And because he went for discharge, and because he got the Para, he actually ends up, my Jellicent actually ends up fully paralyzed that turn. I was going to click Scald there, just to get chip damage away. I don't know if the combination of Scald damage plus one more turn of Life Orb damage would have taken out this Raichu, but alas, we'll never know. So he gets down to about 50%. We lose basically 2 of our walls. He goes out here into his Tyrantrum. I know it's Choice Scarf at this point. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I go here to my Mega Swampert. I am running a bulky Mega Swampert here. I make a misplay, where I guess you can say I kind of make a misplay here. He goes for Earthquake, which does only 29%. I go for Toxic here. I probably should have gone for the Earthquake there, because Earthquake would have taken out the Tyrantrum. But my mentality was he could potentially make a switch out into either the Togekiss or the Chestnut, in which case Earthquake wouldn't do really that much at all. So I had to go for the Toxic. And now here, I'm predicting him to just stay in and go for another attack, but I'm also thinking that he might switch out, so I'm just going to go for the Waterfall. It's going to hit everything except for the Chestnut, for at least neutral, which he does go out to the Togekiss, and the Waterfall is going to take out his Togekiss, so good play on my part. He brings out Chestnut here. No, I'm saving Swampert because I know Swampert can switch in on the Tyrantrum. No ifs, ands, or buts. So I just go out to my Tornadus here. He goes for the Substitute, which can be really scary because, let me pause it again. I know I'm pausing it a lot, but I like pausing it just so you guys can kind of get my thought process from when this actually happened. He goes for Substitute, and immediately I fear the Belly Drum Southberry set. So I'm like, alright, I need to break the sub right away. So I go for the Hurricane. I miss. I'm thinking to myself, what is going to happen? He just goes for Leech Seed. He's a sub-Leech Seed set, so not nearly as scary. I go for another Hurricane. I break it, take Life Orb Recoil. He just goes for another Substitute. Do I go for the Hurricane now, or do I go U-turn? I go U-turn because I don't want to get too low, because I believe get Regenerator now. I just go to Raikou because I can just go ahead and click HP Isis here. He goes for another Substitute, which fails. I go for my own Substitute, just kind of scouting what he's going to go for. He just goes for the straight up Drain Punch. I'm like, alright, I'm just going to click HP Ice at this point. We'll see here. HP Ice will break the sub, obviously. He goes for another Drain Punch, which only does 32% for us, to us. So I know 2 more HP Ice is going to kill. Because we see here, this one does 52%. He goes for a Substitute here, which had he gone for the Drain Punch, he would have had enough HP back to live another HP Ice from a Raikou and just take him down with the falling Drain Punch, but he makes a misplay there and goes for the Substitute, maybe predicting me to switch out to save my Raikou, but Raikou has really done its purpose for me at this point. I go for another HP Ice, break that sub. He's going to go for Drain Punch. Take me down to about 16%, get up to 36%, which isn't enough for him to live this next HP Ice. So Chestnut, which was the bane of my existence for this match because it hit 4 of my mons for super effective damage with stab moves, so the Chestnut's down. Now here he goes out into, I think this is a misplay on his part, not a misplay, but had he gone out to Tyrantrum, at that point he would have had locked himself into a move. Probably would have had to gone for Head Smash, because Head Smash would have done enough to KO my Raikou. If I switched out into Tornadus, predicting the Earthquake, would have taken out my Tornadus. And would have done enough, I think, to take KO my Swampert from where I was at. So I was really thinking he was going to go out into his Tyrantrum, which would have then made me sack my Raikou, but he goes out here into his Mega Gallade, which I'm speed creeping a non-Mega Gallade, so I know that turn 1, unless he protects, I can just go for the Thunderbolt, get chip damage on this thing. Unless he has Protect, which I was worried about, he could have gone for Protect. I was half considering going for Substitute, which I'm glad I didn't go for Substitute because, as you'll see here, I'm going to go ahead and just continue. He does Mega Evolve, he doesn't Protect. I go for the Thunderbolt, get him down to about 50%, as I go out to Stone Edge, which is really, really risky on his part because he could have missed it. Obviously, he would have outsped me the following turn, although he might not have known that I was running not really much speed investment at all on my Raikou. So right here, I know that, what is it? I know right here that Mamoswine wins me the game because unless his Tyrantrum is packing Superpower, I will outspeed his Mega Gallade and his Raichu and be able to OHKO both of those things with an Earthquake from this point. And I can live any non-Superpower move from Tyrantrum because of my investment. But I believe I just go out into Tornadus, going for the Hurricane here, which luckily I do land, just giving me more residual damage against this thing. I need to save my Tornadus in case something happens and Mamoswine can't take out all his mons, which I'm not really worried about at this point. But we see here that he goes for the Head Smash, and we live on 3 HP, which is crazy. I know I am running investment on my Mega Swampert on HP, but I wasn't expecting to live. We see him taking Toxic damage, and I'm carrying Protect, which I've already revealed. So he could have switched out there, but it didn't really matter. He just stayed in. Toxic is going to take him down. Now I can just sack off my Swampert here to Raichu. Raichu's going to go for the Grass Knot, take Life Orb damage, and because he's Life Orb and not Scarfed, I can go out into Mamoswine, and I can click Earthquake twice, and that's going to be the game. So we win our Week 1 match in the PICA 2-0. Great game to Nick. We actually had this match at about, I think it was 12:30 in the morning. On July 4th. Basically, to give you guys some backstory as to why we battled this late, the power rankings went up about at about midnight that day, and I was watching it, just curious, where I was at. I didn't really, necessarily care where I was at, but I was just curious where they thought I was going to be at, and I was actually 15th out of 16 on the power rankings for the post-draft, which I can't discredit them because obviously they're basing it off our teams and not necessarily our playstyles because they don't necessarily know all our playstyles. But seeing myself at 15, I was like, I'm kind of pumped up for this. I want to prove these guys, hey, I'm not 15th, obviously. I don't deserve to be that low. And so I was just kind of pumped up, had some adrenaline, so I just messaged Nick on Skype, asking him if he wanted to battle early, if he wanted to battle that night, and he was like, yeah, sure, why not? So that's what happened. We ended up having a battle, so I think we were the first battle of the season, so that's also pretty cool. I thing to think about is we were actually the kickoff match. So yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, we got the 2-0 victory, so that's the most important part for us. Um, so that puts us at 1-0 in our PICA run here. Trying to think of what else to say. Obviously, go check out Nick. I'm gonna leave his YouTube link down below. Uh, Great battler. He really played me actually pretty well. He had momentum for most of the game, I think, with it being either the Raichu set, which I did not expect Encore Raichu, or the Sub Leech Seed set from the Chestnut. Luckily, his Togekiss really never played much into the match. Togekiss can be one of those annoying mons. Tyrantrum did a little bit of work against me. Kind of whittled away some of my bigger mons like not Tyrantrum, Mega Swampert. Luckily, Mega Swampert was a good enough counter because I kind of sacked my two physically defensive mons in Jellicent and in Politoed. Kind of surprised with the team. Not surprised, but because his team really, I think, paired up decently against me. Because Chestnut and Raichu really put work in on my rain team. So obviously he needed to bring those two things. Only thing I talked to him after the match, and he said that Choice Scarf Mamoswine really kind of wrecked him. He didn't really think about Choice Scarf Mamoswine, which I'm glad he didn't, obviously. But yeah, that's gonna be it for our week 1 battle. Make sure you guys leave some comments and some questions down below because I will be doing a post-game conference sort of video where I just kind of answer some questions for you guys. So make sure you leave some questions down below. Leave some support for your Detroit Magnetons, and I'll see you guys in week 2 of the PICA. See you later.